ونتشرف الآن بدعوة مستر بالاش كولتاي AI Advocate and Educator Digital Transformation Leader لتقديم الكلمة الرئيسية للمؤتمر تحت عنوان AI and Banking Pioneering the Future of Finance. فليتفضل.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be here, and I would like to say thank you to the leadership of Egyptian Banking Institute to invite me. I remember about 20 years ago when I purchased my apartment, and it took me 2 months to secure my financing. I had to go to the branch a number of times. I had to sign this much paper, 3 copies. 1 copy for me, 1 for the bank, and 1 for I actually don't know whom. And a lot of questions and answers, 2 mysterious committees that I didn't actually know those people, and they were making a decision about my life. So that was 20 years ago, and I'm so happy to be here to talk to you. You are the leaders of the future of the bank, and you will create a totally different customer experience. Last week when I was packing for my trip here, I was looking at the weather forecast, and I saw 42 degrees. And I'm coming from Budapest, Hungary, and it's 18 degrees. So I don't even have my summer clothes with me. I had to go down to my basement to get my summer clothes and all that stuff. So it was so exciting for me to actually come here. And then actually 2 days ago, I was looking at the weather forecast. It's only 30 degrees, 32 degrees today. So thank you very much for the timing. It's a perfect timing for us. This is my professional background. I'm not going to bore you with the details. Let's glimpse into the future. So remember my story about my apartment purchase. How is it going to be looking like in about 10 years from now? How about your daughter or your son? And she or he lives in an apartment. This is a smart home. So the smart home monitors the market tendencies and also looks at the situation of your child. And once the time is right, it signals the AI assistant of your child to manage the refinancing of the home. And it's done in 7 minutes with natural language, emotionally sensitive, and actually just a few words need to be said, and it's all done in 7 minutes. That's going to be the future. I think it's a much better experience than what I had 20 years ago. So let's look at how the financial market itself will be looking like in the future, how we will actually serve the financial well-being of our customers. First of all, hyper-personalization. This is done by natural language processing, and it's going to be happening in a very empathetic and emotionally sensitive way. There is not going to be applications that you have to download. It's going to be an AI assistant managing it end-to-end for our customers. It's going to be personalized to real-life events. Like, for example, if somebody is getting a new job, or getting fired, or having a child, or moving, all these life events will be embedded into the financial services automatically. We will actually serve our customers before they tell us what they want, because we will have so much data about them that we can predict even better what they want and what they like than before they actually consciously realize that need. I don't know if you have heard about the statistic that Facebook knows more about us than we do. There was an experiment that the wives and the children and the parents know less of what our decisions will be in certain situations that Facebook knows, because Facebook knows everything about us. Now, this is something that we will use in the financial services as well. And finally, the premium services like investment advice or wealth management, this is also going to be accessible for everybody with the help of AI. new products and services. So what are those products and services that we will actually serve with this new technology? We will do dynamic pricing. We know dynamic pricing because we fly, we go to different events, and in those industries, dynamic pricing is already very common. We will do the same thing for our financial products and services, and we will also do the feature updates with dynamic reaction to all the market events automatically. We will have microloans accessible for all kinds of populations that they don't have access to right now. And we will also have our customers, like our children, co-creating their financial services with the help of AI. How about the access to financial services, the new channels, banking as a service? This is something of a new concept, but we will have that on a subscription based, and it's going to be accessible in a much cheaper way than we can do it today. We will have fully digitized engagement channels, which means that today we have big banking infrastructure, a lot of branches. We may keep a few branches for certain special situations, but most of the engagements will be all digital. I don't know if you know that those people who have been born after 1990, they actually prefer to have their problems solved with the help of digital channels and with the help of automated AI systems. They don't actually want to talk to people because it's slow. So this is what we will have as a standard in the future. We will have new revenues when we are integrating our services from the financial side with other third-party services. And also, we will have our cars that when we purchase a car, the smart car will actually automatically initiate the financing options for us without actually us bothering with the details. The same goes for homes, as I told you about the story of your child refinancing the home, or wearables, smart devices. If something happens to me, I fell, or anything else, I travel, automatic financial decisions will be made behind me with the help of my AI agent. Now, democratization, this is a most beautiful side of the development for me actually, because we have today underserved populations just because it's not profitable to serve everybody today with financial services. Now, as we use AI to bring the cost down, we will be able to serve everyone with financial services. The acquisition of a new customer or serving a new customer will be measured basically in marginal costs because of automation and artificial intelligence. Credit scoring. I used to live in the United States, and I remember when I was trying to get an apartment in San Francisco, and the landlord had 20 people that he wanted to select somebody to occupy his apartment. So I had to bring, it was more serious than a job interview, I'm telling you. I had to bring my CV, recommendations, my credit report, everything had to be in a pack so that he could decide who is going to be the new tenant. Now, credit report is very important information for us today. The official credit scoring is very important, but in the future, we will be able to take into consideration alternative sources of information so people can have access to loans. Now, this is the market. How about the bank of the future? How is it going to be looking like? Human AI symbiosis. This is the theme of the future. We will be able to anticipate most of the things that will happen in the future in terms of market, in terms of our clients, their behavior, their needs, and then also we can do this prediction into our back office operations. It's going to be much more easy to plan, but in the same time, the changes will happen much faster as well. AI-driven processes. We are already starting to use that successfully, which is a very good news. We are automating a lot of routine tasks today, but we will be able to do that so for all the complex operations, we will either automate them or augment them, and this is going to be mostly our decision. We will have decision making also at a different level, since we will have much more information and we will have AI helping us in our decisions, or AI actually making the decisions for us, and not only making a decision, but also acting on it, because it will have a lot of tools available for the AI models. And then, obviously, in the future, automated customer service, automated regulatory compliance will be basically non-negotiable. We will have companies who are actually specializing on these services, probably on a subscription base, so maybe we don't even have to worry about them too much. Now, what kind of AI tools and methods we'll be using for making this all happen? Co-pilots. Everybody's using some kind of ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, with the phone, with your laptop. So this is actually getting very common today. In the future, if you are working in an institution, it can be a bank or any other business basically, using Copilot is gonna be just as common as today we are using an Excel table. It's gonna be a basic skill, non-negotiable. Gartner says that in about 2 years from now, 50% of our models will be industry and domain specific, which means that it's gonna be much easier to use these AI models because it's going to be tailored to customer service, fraud detection, credit scoring. It's gonna be much easier to train them as well. This is actually around the corner. Digital twins. We are actually, with my client, implementing digital twins to some of our clients. What we do is, basically, for example, one of the last use cases is we have a warehouse, and the client wants to optimize the warehouse. What we do is we create thousands of digital twins of that particular warehouse, and we are using evolutionary machine learning to compete all these different versions of the warehouse in a digital sense against each other. And the strongest one always wins, and at the end, on the top, there is the most optimized digital version of the warehouse. And this is what we have to implement then for the client. Now, the same process will be used for portfolios, financial decisions, even banking organizations. Using digital twins with evolutionary machine learning is going to be a big theme in the future. And then obviously, looking at all this, we have legacy systems, legacy organizations, but there are going to be organizations which are actually architected around AI from the ground up. Now, to have all this, a lot of information, a lot of decisions, a lot of automated decisions, one of the most important requirements is trust. Trust is going to be a big challenge, and we will be able to solve it in the future. Explainable AI, transparency, we know who is making a decision, what is making a decision, based on what information the decisions are being made. It's going to be basically a requirement, and it will be part of our services. It's going to be fair, unbiased, and as you see, data privacy is going to be also a very, very important theme, just like actually today it is. Automated regulatory compliance, I think you'll love it, because there are going to be tools and there are going to be services that will automate the regulatory compliance, monitor the regulations, create the reporting, adjust the systems, and adjust the processes to comply with regulations. I think this is the good thing. Now, before we go into, okay, what can we do to get to this nice future, let's look at where we are today. The good news is that the barriers are coming down, and AI is coming from novelty to mainstream, and actually it's going to be a must-have for everyone who wants to stay in business. So today, there are clear indications that 75% of banks will employ generative AI by the end of this year, which is actually good. 3 banks out of 4 will employ generative AI. I think this is a nice phase to be. we are at an inflection point because experimental applications are coming to scalable deployments. And I'll give you an example here. For example, you have data, and the data store, the knowledge base contains all your products and services. So then you can put a chatbot on the top, so that will support your customer service agents to serve your customers. Customer calls in, the customer has certain product, and basically the agent live can chat with AI and get information about the customer products. The model can help answer the questions for the customers. That's phase number one. Phase number two is you can make this model and this service accessible for the customer itself. So please, don't call us. Here's this tool, talk to it, chat with it, get information, and then serve yourself. That's much faster. As I said, the younger people love these digital channels. That's phase number two. Phase number three, why don't we use this tool to actually do some upselling and cross-selling? So not only answering the questions, but we can also basically suggest new products and services to the customer during the same conversation. This is step number three. And step number four is you can use the same system to basically train your new staff. Somebody comes in, and then since we have all the information about our products and services, we can ask AI to build a training program for the newcomers during the onboarding process. So this is scalability. You build a good foundation, you start to use it in-house, you make it externally available, and then you add new applications on the top. Gen AI augmenting the current use cases. For example, many banks are obviously using AI for fraud detection or credit scoring, which is good. But many times we don't actually know the decision or what is the reason behind the decision, because the current models not always tell us. Neural networks are, if you open the hood, basically a lot of numbers between 0 and 1. Thank you very much for the info. So in the future, Gen AI will actually tell us all the reasons behind each decision. And this is actually a very strong trend today. The barriers are coming down, as I said, and you see in terms of the data, obtaining and retaining the AI talents, or actually getting the money for AI is getting much easier compared to 2023 to 2024. Now, what is the impact on the top and the bottom lines of all this, what we are going through today? 70% report that there is 5% increase in revenue, and 60% report there is 5% increase in, or decrease in costs, which is actually a good news. The ROI, the return on investment, is getting there, which is great. The biggest and the most profitable use cases here from the ROI perspective are portfolio optimization and customer experience. So good job for those who are already working on that. Some more examples from the industry. We used to, and we are today still looking at about 30 factors in terms of credit rating. With the help of a lot of more data and AI, we will be able to employ thousands of factors, thousands of features or data sources. And this will allow us to make our products actually more accessible and cheaper for the customers. Fraud detection rates will increase, the false positives will decrease, and also, I don't know if you've heard about legacy IT systems. I know that everybody is very modern today, but some banks have still legacy systems, and then it's going to be much easier, and it is already easier to transfer the applications from the legacy system to the new one with generative AI, with coding. So this is also great use cases. All right, so we saw where we want to be, and we also see where we are today. There are some challenges on the road, unfortunately. Let's look at these challenges. The thing is that actually you are doing everything at the same time. You are running a bank, but also you are upgrading the infrastructure, educating your workforce, trying to keep up with regulations, modernizing your processes, and everything all at once, and in the same time you are trying to not break anything. This is actually not that easy. So let's see what are the challenges. These are actually either disruptions or opportunities or both. Financial agents, everybody will have agents in the future, individual agents, AI models helping my life from all kinds of sense, including financial sense. So we will have to interact with these agents in the future. VR, immersive experiences, this is gonna be big. Non-industry players and fintech companies, we are already feeling the pressure, and I will tell you a little bit later how to deal with these players in the future. And then also, we may have central banks issuing digital currencies to help the population. So we will have to take that into consideration also. I think I jumped, yes. The tech landscape. Yes, the tech landscape. Quantum computing. Quantum computing is great because we can train our AI models much faster, but quantum computing actually will require us to rethink the security platforms that we are using, encryption methodologies, because they can just actually break it in 2 seconds. So this is something to think about in the future. Edge AI. Edge AI means that we will have mobile phones that will actually run AI models on the spot, not needed to have any internet connection or anything like that, very powerfully. So this is also something to consider, and it's already around the corner. We already have new phones, laptops running AI on the spot. Blockchain. Blockchain is a big thing for the future. Decentralized finance, so basically actually leaving out all the central institutions like banks, and people are interacting and transacting with each other directly. This is something also to monitor and make sure that we can adjust our business models to this development. And also, the blockchain will help us to strengthen the fraud, the security theme. We will have smart contracts in the future, which means that we will create contracts that actually programmed to react to certain conditions. We don't have to actually deal with it. It's automatically done through the blockchain system. And we will have to have preparation for tokenization of our assets, physical assets or logical assets. Now, regulation. Regulatory environment is also going to change because we will have much more data, much faster decisions, so the regulations have to intensify to keep up with this change. Also, we are hoping that we will have much clearer rules and hopefully maybe a global standard, and I will talk about it later. Transparency, privacy, fairness, you know all these are gonna be very important for the future. Now, these were the external factors. The question is, how about our internal challenges? Where are we today, and what is the challenge today within the bank, within the organization? Well, we have a heritage. Our heritage is mostly from the 20th century. So we have 20th century infrastructure, 20th century organization, silos, operating models. This is challenging to transfer it for the future. Some people think that governance can be an add-on, and many people actually do it that way today, but we need to understand that this is going to have to be a design principle to have governance, security, and trust. Leadership fluency. I am working with a lot of organizations where I'm teaching leaders to be more fluent in AI. Look at the business case, look at the business strategy, and going from the business strategy, build an AI roadmap to basically select those right use cases for the first implementations or for the upgrades. And this is something that needs to happen with leadership fluency on AI. Leaders need to understand the technology, the limitations, the possibilities. That's the only way that they can make right decisions in relation to AI. Education is very important. And also we have a culture. Financial services, by definition, are risk-averse. And this has served us well in the last 100 years. But now, with all these technological and other changes that we are living through, we need to have innovation in our DNA for financial services. Resistance and fear, we all know that. Change is hard. So now, I ask you to take your mobile phones, please, and scan this QR code, or you can come to Menti using basically the website and these 8 digits. I'm going to stand here so everybody have access, because I have a question for you. Please join me, and I'll have a question for you now. Are you there? Okay. You will see on the top of the screen also the numbers 87687402. Let's see. So this is my question. Please tell me, what is, do you think, your biggest challenge in AI transformation? You can give more than one answers. We would like to see that you in this room, what do you see as the biggest challenge for you in terms of developing with AI, by AI? Let's see. Validity of info, regulations, people culture, readiness, priorities. Yes, I agree. Bad inputs, willing to change, security, regulation. Regulation is actually, regulation is a very common word. I see that. Culture, risk awareness, data accuracy. I fully agree. Security is a big theme. I see it's a very pixel-less, but 87 people responded, 89. 100. Okay, we reached 100. Good. Keep going. 120. What I will do next is, in a moment, I will ask my AI assistant to group all these inputs from you into some clusters, so we can see the themes. We can see how we can group and cluster all your inputs. All right, so I'm going to ask my kind AI assistant to please help us. This is actually generative AI live. You see, you have a lot of unstructured data, and what we are asking AI is to basically create groups with the help of the language model, large language model. Sorting the circles from squares. Let's see. Oh, okay. So we have 34 responses for security, 30 responses for regulations, culture 24, very interesting, data accuracy 22, infrastructure 19, readiness 17, change resistance, interesting. Linked to culture, obviously, 17, trust, 10, and we have some new responses since it started to work, 21. So you see the themes. These are the main challenges that you are seeing, and this is exactly the same thing that I'm talking about. Thank you very much. So, okay, what can we do then? I want to give you some real hands-on action items that you can walk away with. There is an ancient Maya proverb that it's not about deploying more tools, as you see, because we can have tools, and that's the easy part. We have so many suppliers, IT companies, developers, all developing these tools for us. So this is good. The question is, how can we reimagine our institutions to actually get the most out of AI? Now, the first thing is that we need to move from AI augmented to AI native. So it has to be embedded into everything that we do, how we think about AI. We can reinvent our value proposition, our place in the marketplace. We can, and we should actually create AI roadmaps, the same thing that I told you that I'm working with my clients. You need to have an AI roadmap. I know it's easy to land on a chatbot or maybe a prediction engine, and you have already maybe done it so, but it has to be a foresight of where I want to get to in 2 years, where I want to get to in 3 years. It's going to be much more structured that way. Many start with the low-hanging fruits, and many start with efficiency gains, because we see a lot of tasks that we can today automate, but then we can use these gains into innovation, really innovating the products, the services, our business models. Let's use that money, what we save on one side, for the innovation on the other side. Data and tech. We need to make sure to have high quality and accessible data. We can start to use synthetic data. Synthetic data is basically data generated by Gen AI, and this data is perfect for example, training the AI models. This is great because the more data we have, the better the model is going to get, but obviously we always have these privacy issues. So let's use the synthetic data. Data governance has to be basically supporting all the developments from the ground up, and ethical AI, fair AI, is not in the applications. It's on the data level. And finally, obviously, cloud, that you know very well about. Learning, leadership learning programs, I already told you about. This is always the first step, and for my clients, typically we start with the education, because then we can speak the same language going forward. Upskilling for all the other roles. Low code, no code. Low code, no code is very interesting, very basically easy to employ if we have the right framework, and then we can have our employees basically redesign their own processes on the fly using drag and drop visual tools to redesign their own processes and make it much faster and much more accurate and scale it up, basically. Different skills that you also will need, and it's good to start training programs around these skills today. Machine learning operations, which is very close to the development operations, DevOps, but obviously now we are focusing on the data. So machine learning operations skills, this is something that you either want to hire or train for, upskill your employees. Data scientists, experts in AI, and obviously, the very important part, the ethics and the governance. This is something that may be overlooked, but for the AI era, these are very important skills to train for starting today. And then how does this organization look like from the AI perspective? I suggest that you start to think about designating an AI officer, a chief AI officer for your organization. The chief AI officer will be the sponsor of the specialized AI team. We can call this AI team a center of excellence. These are the guys in your organization or the girls in the organization who are very knowledgeable about AI. This is a central team sponsored by the chief AI officer. And then for all the rest of your organization, including finance, logistics, procurement, customer service, sales, all the rest of the organization should have at each domain, each function, a number of people who know a lot about AI. And so the center of excellence coordinates the trainings, and then those people who are very good finance people, very good credit scoring people, they can get the AI training, and this way the domain knowledge is paired together with the AI knowledge. That's the most powerful setup going forward. Now, culture of curiosity. As I told you before, banks are obviously traditionally very risk-averse, so we need to change that culture to keep up with the AI evolution. We need to have basically fail-fast learning and experimenting. So, for example, you have a team, try something with AI, let's say it fails. What am I going to do? Well, maybe we don't get the business results, but we will get the learning results. And these learning results are actually the skills that we want to have for our next projects. So let's celebrate everything. And then we need to prepare for more human, unique roles, because if we automate most of the things that we can, then what remains with the people are very humane traits that we can make it stronger in the organization. And also, one more advice, make adaptability a KPI. Most organizations have a balanced scoring system. Each year, the managers are evaluating the employees, and there are all kinds of business goals in that evaluation. Make adaptability the KPI, and make sure that you are tracking how people can adapt to AI changes. Actually, intelligence is the definition for adaptability. So this is actually a good coming together. Governance, obviously make it to the entire AI lifecycle from the first brainstorming all the way until decommissioning, fairness by design standards, audits, ethical boards, and code of ethics. These are all tools that we can use starting very soon in the future to make sure that these AI developments are going in the right way. And make sure that you have accountability for all this, because data collection, data monitoring, application building, putting it into operations, that's a lot of work to do. So accountability is going to be very, very important. Regulations. One of your top priorities were actually regulations in terms of your challenges. So I think we can be proactive. Let's engage our regulators. We know a lot about how we are working. We see the ups and downs with AI. We have use cases already. We know a lot about what works and what doesn't work. Let's help our regulations to construct the right regulation for AI. Brussels effect. I am from Europe, obviously. So in Europe, we have the AI Act. A lot of people are always talking about the AI Act. It's going to come in force next year, 2026. And we will see if the Brussels effect repeats itself, which means that GDPR was constructed in the European Union, and GDPR became almost like a world standard in many places. Maybe the AI Act is going to behave in exactly the same way. We will see. So that's something to monitor. And also look for regulatory technologies that will help you to comply with these regulations and monitor your AI systems, and make sure, obviously, that you have right escalation paths, that anything breaks, anything goes wrong, it has to be managed on time. Partnerships, and this is my last content slide, is also very important. I talk about fintech companies. We have startups. Actually, this is a relationship that's beneficial for both sides. The fintech and the startup company will have access to a large market. And also, the banks will have access to cutting-edge technology, new way of thinking, new approaches. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. There is a projection that 60% of major banks will have partners in the fintech and startup era. So this is something to think about also. And if you don't want to go outside only, you can also create incubators within your own organization to try things and to learn from things. That's very, very important. And also make sure that you are technically be able to connect your systems with external parties. So what I usually tell my clients, and also what I teach at the university, is that transformation driven by AI is not a technical challenge. Because as I told you, there are so many companies that want your money so they can implement such and such and such AI system for you. That's the easy part. The hard part is what you actually said, the regulation, the culture, the mindset, rethinking my role in the financial system, rethinking what kind of services I can use, what kind of channels I can use. That's the real differentiator. And that's what you can use, and that's what you can do, building your own current experiences, starting today. Finally, I would like to thank you for paying attention to my keynote speech. I was really happy to be here. And my final thought here is that we are in an inflection point. It's a very exciting time because we are not only building a more streamlined organization and better financial services, but hopefully we are also building something that's more beneficial for everybody. Thank you very much for your attention.